Computer. Yeah. Recording in progress.
I read the minutes, so, oh, okay, go ahead.
Call to order.
Call to order, 6:45. Any additions or modifications to the agenda? Anybody?
Oh, did I
Sadly?
put out an agenda for everyone?
I got one.
I thought,
You want one?
You got too much stuff.
wow.
Just go ahead.
Okay, see the agenda real quick.
I can always go to the agenda on my drive. For today. I got it.
Okay.
We haven't
The,
saved any trees tonight.
No.
I didn't print out 6 of everything though.
It's fine, I've got one.
The only thing that I would like to add, and it can fall under general policies, is a policy for restricting users from using the library.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
And maybe table the upcoming grant application because Flair didn't meet today.
Okay.
Flavor?
Oh, it's just blood orange lemonade.
Ah, yeah, I have strawberry.
Oh yeah, we have those ones too right now.
I really like their watermelon one.
I haven't had that one.
It's as a fake watermelon flavor aficionado, it's really yummy.
Okay.
All right, so did everybody read the minutes? I know I did.
Yeah.
I like real watermelon too.
Anybody needed anything fixed or otherwise?
No.
Hadley?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor of passing the
Minutes as
the
read.
minutes as read?
Boy.
Those opposed? Alrighty, all passed. Nice job, Christine. So treasurer's report, so that I'll call that the TD Bank update. Anna?
Oh yeah. So last
Oh, by
week,
the way, you're on.
yeah, last week I met with Tom at Community Bank in St. Albans, and we sat down. He had already prepared all the paperwork, and I had already signed the paperwork, putting me on as kind of the secondary backup person in the event that signatures are required. And then the bank did their thing, and now we're good to go. He also brought a check to deposit the money over from TD Bank to Community Bank, but I believe that is fully taken care of. But that's kind of a conversation they had before I arrived.
Okay, and
So,
did they say anything about how much the checks would be? Did you nothing said about that? I'll ask Tom if I see him tomorrow. Okay. Check.
I think he might be on vacation this week. I don't think he's gonna be there.
I don't know if he'll be there. If he is, I'll ask him.
I thought his email said he was either leaving today or coming back today.
Oh, you know what? Maybe what was said is that we didn't need to buy any checks. Like, doesn't the town have checks?
Yeah,
But
but
they print-
it's our. I don't know how that works, if we print them or if they are.
I believe she said something about print, like the town prints them. Like, we don't
Okay.
need to purchase any, but double check with.
Okay, I will. I'll check with him.
Yeah.
Check cost, and because he told me it was going to cost something for the new ones. So I will, if I see him tomorrow, I will ask him. Okay. Winter programming. Sadly, anything, nothing?
For the month of March, it's pretty light. The month with all of the snow this year in February, we didn't have a ton of people coming in, so I am waiting to hear back. I'm still waiting to hear from Ricky Klein. I'm still waiting to hear back to schedule cat people again, because the end of March is kind of the beginning of kitten season. So
I skipped right over the librarian's report. Might as well give it.
no worries. So I am still waiting to hear back on those. But yeah, not
Okay,
much in the month of March.
Can I stop you with Ricky Klein? You have a friend who's also a master gardener, right?
Yep.
Did you give Kathy that name? No, I can do that. Yeah, so if Ricky Klein,
He did email and said that he's waiting for his goats to be born,
okay, okay.
and then he'll have a better idea.
Why don't you put that in
But,
so we have,
yes.
so we have a second?
And Mike did give me somebody too that I'm gonna reach out to.
Excellent.
I did also officially reach out to the Master Gardener programs, and they emailed back that they were having trouble finding volunteers this year. So,
Wow, okay, so sounds like we have quite a few in our own backyard.
so if we can go an unofficial route, I think we might have.
I'm gonna
better.
now
cool.
Thank
send
you.
the phone number.
Perfect.
Or
I know that name. I wonder if Alan knows her. So for the month of February, we did have a light month. Only 92 adults came through. I didn't have time to compare it to 2024, but I feel like 2024 was a beautiful February, very warm, very sunny, a lot less snow. So we had more people in the library. So, story time, we've only had like 2 or 3 kids at a time because of snow. But I'm honestly surprised we've had any a couple of Tuesdays, but they've come. And
walkers, maybe?
no drivers. Um, and as you can see, we've only had 9 kids total for the whole month for story time, and 7 kids for Bluey, 5 of whom are our story time regulars.
Good.
And yeah, not a lot of in library as much as I tried to get people in here. We did have some snowshoes go out.
Good.
We've had 4 pairs go out so far, possibly another pair going out this week, depending on the state of snow out there. Only 15 reports have gone out while we were open. I haven't counted the pile that I put in.
Well,
in
we're
there.
closed on Monday, so that's kind of hard because I think that
Right, that's
Tammy
why.
put it up on like Thursday or Friday. She posted about it.
Yeah, and I put them in the drop so that way people could
Okay.
come while we were closed this weekend. And I put it on our Facebook that they were in there.
Okay.
I just haven't counted those yet. So we've had our Libby users are up to 10 users. Woohoo.
Yay.
In January we had 7, so we've
Good.
gained. And I'm trying to figure out the back end of Biblio Plus, so I'm hoping to be able to start reporting on that usage soon. I just haven't figured out where it lives to find, like, I can see where everybody, like the overall how many Vermonters are using it, but I can't find us. So I'm just trying to break it down. So
when you say Wi-Fi, that's just people come in here and sit in here and use the Wi-Fi, nothing else.
nothing else. It might be Christine doing something on her computer, or teenagers in here on their phones.
Yep. All right.
Sometimes in nice weather, there's actually a couple townspeople that'll sit out front and use our Wi-Fi, but not.
I don't think these numbers are disappointing by any means. I think that the fact that we had 92, I mean, we had a lot of snow last year. We hardly had any snow. And I mean, parking out there, I know that the town is doing its best to keep up, and from what Alan told me, it's, bucket loader has to come out to do that. So
whatever they did this very last storm, they did they've been doing the sidewalks first and then plowing our parking spots over the sidewalk, which never made sense to me. This time they plowed our spots first and then did the sidewalk, and I feel like the sidewalks got cleaner.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Relay that to Alan.
And I'm hoping tomorrow to get rid of the ice on the sidewalk in front of the library.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to rain, so on Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that everything, Hadley, or do you have anything else?
Yes. We have 23, I haven't added it to this, but we have 23 users on our newsletter.
Nice. So that's on our email list.
Yes.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Did you
too.
guys like it? I thought it was nice to get. So I'm good.
Yes.
I liked it. I think that if you ask people when they check out a book, if they would like to receive.
Yeah, we
yeah.
have been, and I know the first one that I sent out, within 10 minutes of it going out, Lynn Stanley called and was like, "This is beautiful."
Yeah. So absolutely. I was really stoked because I was like, okay, I'm all caught up. I know what's going on. And
Mhm.
I'm really impressed that we had 5 adults for foraging in the middle of winter. I think that's great. And people are still coming to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were discussing winter programming. Do you have anything past March planned at all for like April?
I'm working with the storyteller that was supposed to come last July to try to get her
Okay, I just want to remember that before we go.
To try to get her to come for April break.
Okay.
To do
The traveling storyteller, because
Yes. Yes.
we did return that check to Tom, right?
It's still here.
Okay.
It
We're
has
probably gonna have to return that to Tom
to get a new one.
to get a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to definitely get the traveling storyteller in here, or schedule that up for whatever we have going on for the 4th of July. Are we doing that?
Be the fifth this year.
That's
Saturday.
yeah. No, the 5th of July would be a good day too, Hadley.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
something for the kids to do in the park before and we just need a permit for the park.
She won't do it outside.
Oh, that's right. We have to go to the United Church, but it sounded like people wanted to go to that. So whatever you want to do there,
Okay.
whatever works for you.
Okay. And then I have scheduled the butterfly guy. He came 2 years ago and he did bats and bees and birds, and then they made t-shirts.
Oh, nice.
And he's coming again this year to do just butterflies, since our summer theme is color your world. So we're doing butterflies. He will be in July. It's a Thursday, 23rd. They're that week. If it's not the 23rd, it's that week.
So that's the summer reading program is Color Your World.
Yes. And then we have VINS, the Vermont Institute of Natural
Yay.
Science. They're gonna come in August, so it was the soonest I could get them.
Are they
And are
coming with
we-
like the birds?
Yes.
Oh,
Are
cool.
we collaborating with other libraries to
I'm-
get that defrayed?
Yes, I'm
Definitely coming to that. Is that open to adults?
yes.
They do it right out. They do
Yeah,
it
we
right
do
out.
it right.
here.
Story time.
Yeah.
And it's usually in the afternoon, but it
Okay.
brings a lot of people.
Yes, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that, and that is everything I have solidified so far.
Okay, good. Sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on in the hopper. All right. We tabled the upcoming grant application, nothing, we know nothing. Okay.
No, the
Alright.
website hasn't been updated since
Sounds like we're gonna
November.
be in limbo on that one. for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex Barkley grant suggestions update, anything from him at all since we,
Not since that, but the computer one is due on Wednesday, and I'm finishing it up tomorrow. So it's
just that one,
It's
the
just-
AARP one.
yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right. And the Friends of the Library, I'm just gonna table that until the next meeting. I think that
Mhm.
that would be wisest. I really want to plug through these general policies and get them done in case I'm me and Rebecca are on the outs here and we never come back.
Go back.
I'll vacate my seat.
Oh, no.
No.
All right.
Because that would mean we would have other people.
This is a good group. I like it.
Oh,
Miss Nikki though.
I do miss Nikki, but I feel good with her being on
Yeah,
the
select board.
select board.
I guess this could fall under other, but before we continue, I just want to make sure that March 7th. I know
Yes.
Wendy said that she couldn't make March 7th
No.
for working on the basement. Is that okay, good for everybody
Yes, and
else?
I mean, I guess, Rebecca, if you're gonna be here,
For March 8th.
Whatever that Saturday
that
is.
Saturday.
So it's not the 15th.
No.
Old minutes can go, stuff like that. I think that we should just have a pile of stuff that is, because bills can go.
We
Old-
don't have to keep minutes, because those are legal things.
No, they, I
7 years.
I think it's, yeah,
Okay.
it's not, I don't even think it's that. I think it's like 3 or 4.
What time?
I
don't know.
They have stuff from way back when. down
Yeah,
there,
when we
way back.
when we cleaned out up here
Probably
for the
morning,
floor,
right?
I made a box that said
Yeah.
2018 plus because there was a whole bunch of stuff up here that I wasn't using. So that's downstairs. Maybe we could even go through that.
Yeah.
I have.
She kept everything. She
Good.
refused it.
And it's from before I was born.
Oh, wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, it's not like she's that old. I mean.
I know, but-
Did you have any before I was born?
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I don't.
Possibly.
If we
Possibly.
do have some that'll be terribly.
Right.
It would be
No,
like
it's
fun to
history,
just keep
yeah.
and, you know.
Yeah.
One or
Give
two
them
or something,
historical.
yeah.
But
Get the oldest one, we'll look
Yeah.
for the oldest one.
Yeah.
the back wall there downstairs, there are a bunch of like sewing magazines, that kind of thing. That can all go. I would encourage you to go through the crafting stuff, throw away markers that,
Yeah.
the stuff that we don't need or is old or you don't
Yeah.
feel is,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 'cause
That's
it's too
old.
much.
It's too much
Yeah.
stuff. I like what we have going on here. This looks nice and neat. I like the organization of it. It's visible, downstairs it gets kind of lost.
Yeah.
Down there.
What time are we thinking?
I don't know. It's up to you.
7 AM probably.
Yeah,
It's fine.
6, 5.
We open at 9.
Okay. So maybe 9,
And you'll have
9:30?
breakfast, bacon, eggs.
I have coffee.
Yeah.
Do
We
you
have-
want to come at 9:30 so you have a second to like do your thing in the morning? I don't know if you have certain things that you have.
You're subbing.
Turn the
it.
Yeah.
lights on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you have like little
No, it's okay.
9:30?
That works.
Whenever you
It's
can
gotta
get
be
here.
early.
I say whenever you want to come in, come in.
Yeah.
I've been in here. Rebecca's, people just show up whenever
Yeah.
we start doing
Yeah.
stuff and it's
Yeah.
fine by me,
Yeah.
whoever comes. I mean,
Yeah.
So, yes, absolutely. I think that my goal is, or focus, take a look and see what's in the cabinets that are right here under the stairs, because
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
when my
just the
husband had to do that,
Furnace.
the
thing.
furnace thing,
Yeah.
he had to climb over those. There was no way we were moving them. And we have the electronic stuff that can go, Mike, too.
Yep.
Just make sure
Yeah,
how
if-
they.
Is it
are
labeled
Yeah.
or in a box or? Or
Yeah,
just
we'll just-
anything?
I think that how they can.
Yeah.
knows what's.
Okay.
There's a box down there that says small tech on it from when we moved. And I just put stuff that we don't eat. Like there's receipts tape for like
Oh,
it's supposed to be when you transfer a
your stuff,
book, you
okay.
can scan it and it prints a receipt. But Mary said they could never get it to work.
oh,
So I put that downstairs.
I wonder if we should give it a try again, maybe, and see. We have a newer computer now.
True.
So why don't we give that a try? And I can always Google it and see.
Well, if not,
Start around with
let
it.
me know. I'll give it to Mike Hutchins. He could probably.
Yeah, that's true. He's the
Yeah,
tech guy
he's
up on
cool.
Boston Post.
yeah, he's really good.
Because that would save this paper. Because right now It's
I think
it's
it's
this
higher
much
than
text that gets printed every time we transfer a
Well,
book.
I used to love when I would go to St. Albans. I know that you go to St. Albans and they give you the receipt with your book.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
always liked that, you know, they'd stick it in the book and I know exactly what we took out. And I liked that because then they don't do it at St. Albans. I don't know. It costs money there for me to go to St. Albans, so I don't go to St. Albans. So, okay, let's do the general policies. Okay. Why don't we go through the actual general policies that we have printed out? And then we will look at what Vermont has and go from there and see if we want to use theirs, keep ours and add some of theirs. But theirs seems kind of short.
This is behavior policy and then.
Oh, I think there's only one behavior policy that printed. That
I have a
was,
behavior policy.
you do too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
one.
I think there was only a few.
Yeah.
I have the reconsideration for materials form. Oh, I have a behavior policy.
Yeah, this was on the website. This is what Bennington uses. And I printed it mostly so we could see wording around like in library, on library premise
Yeah,
behavior.
I think we should absolutely cover them. All right, so why don't we start with our stuff and go through it? Okay. Library goals and priorities: to assemble, preserve, and administer books and related educational and recreational material in order to promote the communication of ideas and enlightened citizenry and enriched personal lives. Are we good with that?
Mhm.
To serve the community as a center of reliable information and cultural enrichment.
Nice.
Mhm.
To search out the needs of our particular community and provide services for our patrons to meet such needs, and to involve other local organizations, agencies, and institutions which provide programs or services to meet community needs.
Mhm.
To provide opportunity and encouragement for children, young people, men and women to educate themselves continuously.
Mhm.
And to provide, can we change just to be, should we just put people in what, men and women,
They provide them.
adults, maybe, yeah.
So what about if we did children, youth, and adults?
Yes, I like that better.
What is it?
Children, youth, and adults. That way we're covering the gamut. Just want to be up and up. All right, to provide opportunity for recreation and education through the use of literature, music, computer, films, and other art forms.
For that one, instead of recreation and education, can we just change that to enrichment?
Yeah, I like enrichment.
Mhm.
Although, hold
I
the
like-
phone.
Same,
Recreation, we do have our pool pass,
snowshoes.
snowshoes. We do have recreation.
We do.
Recreation, enrichment, and education.
So I think that does,
We have it all here.
Yep. Yep.
Through
No,
the use
well,
of
recreation.
literature, music,
we definitely provide recreation stuff, so.
and the enrichment comes with the literature, music, computer.
Right. Well, that's why it was just the opportunity for enrichment through the use of. Um,
I like it the way it is.
okay.
I like the word enrich.
Mhm.
Okay, general operation, borrowing policies. The library will serve all residents of the town of Bakersfield in accordance with state law. Service will not be denied or abridged because of race, creed, color, national origin, marital status, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. In addition, non-residents may use the library. We good with that statement? And we're good with non-residents using our library, yes?
Mhm.
Yeah. long as there's a caveat later.
Books
Oh.
may,
Sorry,
books may be borrowed for a period of 2 weeks, renewable in person or by phone for another 2 weeks with the consent of the librarian. Teachers in the Bakersfield School District may borrow books for classroom use for 1 month, renewable upon request. Now, my issue here is we have moved on to online. Are patrons able to renew online, Hadley?
yes.
So we need to add and maybe, how do we want to word that? Renewable online.
In person, online.
And online, they don't need the consent of you, correct?
Correct. It automatically does it.
Doesn't go to you first and then you approve it?
I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't. It's just like an automatic.
Yeah,
It tells
if
you
it's-
when it's done, when you hit your limit.
if it's a new book, it doesn't let you do it. It's a
Alright.
setting that's automatically there.
That's it.
Should we put that in there with the exception, with it 2 weeks, and then maybe in parentheses with the exception of new
Well,
releases or new books?
we could do that, and then the other exception would be our passes.
Okay.
Because we don't let our passes out for 2 weeks.
Right, yeah.
Or we could say see pass, because we do have a pass policy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The use of the library or its services may be limited by the board when excessive demands of groups or individuals tend to curtail service to the general public. I'm good with that.
Mhm.
The use of the library or its services may be denied for due cause. Such causes include, without limitation, failure to return books, destruction of library property, disturbance of other patrons, or any other objectionable conduct on library premises. Are we good with that, or do we need to rewrite that in any way, Hadley?
The one thing that I would want to take out is objectionable conduct, because I'd like to add a behavior policy,
Okay.
so that way, that
So-
is gonna be served separate.
So destruction of library property, period, and then we move disturbance, then we'll move the disturbance of other patrons and any other objectionable conduct on library premises to what we're going to add later.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Patrons are responsible for the material they borrow. If a book is lost or the borrower refuses to return it, the current replacement price of the book will be charged. Failure to comply with it in a designated time will result in borrowing privileges being withdrawn. I am very good with that. Very
What if
good with
we-
it.
Do we have fines?
So we don't generally charge late fines except on our passes. And so Nikki spilled some wine on a book. She never brought it back, but she ordered us a new one and brought it
Yeah, I
in.
did the same thing. I ruined
And
it.
like it was just a voluntary.
Yeah, I
bought us a new
replaced the
book.
one that I damaged.
So it's never been an issue except for this family. So
I think that,
It would cover if
yeah,
we did fines.
okay.
Wait, do we have late fees?
No.
That's what I meant,
That's
the
what you're
fines,
talking about?
yeah.
Like in general?
most small libraries don't do the fines because it's a barrier for some people to using the library. And so, right, bring your book back. But I feel like like in this case, we should send her an invoice for the book.
Yes.
I agree.
Mhm.
And probably a copy of our borrowing policies, that
Right.
page. Cheryl felt the same way that, that you may put a book on your bookshelf and not realize that you've stuck it on your bookshelf. And then, oh my gosh, this belongs to the library. I'm going to take it back. She always felt the same way that,
Do we
Books.
have a way of knowing who has the book?
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so maybe phone calls or
Yeah,
divvy it or something.
Well,
Yeah.
usually get-
We get email.
yeah.
We get
There are
emails.
notices, and I think for some of the books, like there's a bunch of books that the system automatically just deems lost if they've been checked out and never brought back. And I think those just fell off of the radar of Mary and Cheryl because like there was like all of our Diary of a Wimpy Kid, someone asked about them and I went looking for them because I'm like, why do we only have 12 and 13? And they've all been missing since COVID. We have all of them now.
I wonder if,
I mean, I think I can run a report to see what's considered lost.
If it's lost, can you tell who the last person was to check it out or no?
I think so because like and I think the system determines that anything over 6 months is lost because there have been things that have been brought back and it will have like a 4 or 5 months.
should we have a maximum that a family can take out on their account possibly? Because I know that when Mary says I have to print out, your list for you, that to me is a problem. Like the maximum that books that you can take out is maybe like 10 that you have to have. Do you know what I mean?
Like 10 per person?
10 per family, I think would, because how many, how, I mean, what would you say with small kids? I mean, I would take out like 6 when I would come here.
That's well, 5 or 6 seems to be what most of the little kids do. Like we just had a middle schooler at the beginning of break come and she alone took out 10 books. But she's also is really
She
good
brings
about
them back. I think that maybe I think that we should have a limit, not just to cover, you know what I mean?
right.
The certain situations. We know,
Right.
we understand who is coming in and who's regularly returning things, but we do know that we do have people who,
We could put a limit and say unless approved by the librarian. So if it's someone will returns the books, you could.
right, like if you if you find 3 in your house, fabulous, bring them in and then you can take out, 10 or whatever.
What do other libraries do? Do other libraries have limits or like small libraries?
I don't know.
Is that something we can look at before? I mean, I know we're trying to change everything
Right.
now. I would just be curious to kind of see, because I can totally agree with the intention behind it.
No, yeah, I agree. I just don't want to the eager readers, I don't want to stifle them.
But it's really 10 stifling.
Right. Well, I mean, like 10 per household. If you have 4 kids,
True.
that's not a lot. But
It's not that difficult to get.
What if you said
Maybe-
2 or 3 per person, maybe? I mean, in that way, per person, per family, and then you could say, okay, well, I've got 4 kids and me and my husband, and then you could
right. How
run
about
that game.
5 for picture books? That way,
Okay.
with 5 per person, because then like Felix always gets 5 books.
It's good for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. And I think Finn gets 3.
It depends on.
Oh, we have a new tractor Mac.
Ooh. You'll be happy about that.
I just think that we need
Right.
to have something in place, and not necessarily, and I don't want to say for everybody, but that it's in place, it's in writing, so we don't have Mary saying, hold on, I gotta print this out. That doesn't make me feel very good. Hold on, we need to print this out. Okay,
If we put the policy down, it's gotta be for everybody.
right. Oh,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
You could do like one amount for kids' books and then adult books too.
Well, how many does Miss Polly usually take out at a time?
It depends.
Like, if you had to guess max.
I think 5 or 6. And then Sue Somsky gets 5 or 6 too.
So, like 5 per person, maybe.
Yeah. But Polly and Sue,
They
they,
are the
they bring them
opposite.
back, and they bring them back in
Like,
good condition.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
absolutely. Okay.
just looking to see if there's an answer to what other libraries do.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at mine.
I don't see one on there.
And if it
Very
Dawn keeps it for like the 6 months and then it goes to the lost books, does that still count as one of the things they have borrowed on their
Mm-hmm.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, it just labels it as lost. So, like, if another library wanted to request it,
They could.
it would show as checked out lost. So they wouldn't be like, I want to borrow this next. And, but then, things do come back. Like I said, it can be, I think it's more than 3 months late. It's considered a loss. So there have been things that have come back and it's still within the same year, but it was considered a loss by the system.
Patrons are responsible for the materials they borrow. If a book is lost or the borrower refuses to return it, the current replacement price of the book will be charged failure to comply within a designated time. What is our designated time? And will result in borrowing privileges being withdrawn.
30 days.
Yeah, I say 30 days. That way it gives them a couple pay periods to get through it.
It's
And
like any bill.
Should we also do if the book is lost, the borrower refuses to return it, or it's damaged?
Mhm.
Because like, that book was returned, but it's not like
Yeah.
she would have to pay to replace it or have her privileges.
Right. I want to restrict her, but
Well, we have to start by following through.
Right.
And I mean, maybe that should be explained to her, maybe the general policy is given to her so she understands, or that
Yeah.
part, so she understands. That we did work on this and this is what
Okay.
we're doing from here, from this
The
day forward.
invoice.
Okay. Hours, holidays. The library will attempt to be open at hours convenient to the community. The library will be open at least 20 hours per week, including evening and weekend hours. Should we reword that 20 hours per week, excluding when there's a holiday? Because
What about vacation?
That's right down.
Weather.
no, we usually have somebody to
Mm.
cover for vacation.
Okay.
yeah, I would say excluding holidays and inclement weather.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. The library closes on the following holidays when they fall on a regular library day: New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day. Most of these fall on a Monday anyway when we're
Right.
close. Indigenous People Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day. Are we good with that? And we usually
Christmas Eve too, or that?
that is voted on by us whether we
Okay.
wish to close.
Yes.
If she feels the need to come in, wants to come in, yes, but I mean, we're all about,
Like this year, I might ask if we can be closed the Friday, the day after Christmas, because it's a Friday. And we're only open 3 hours anyway.
Yeah.
and Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving
Yeah,
and Christmas are famously slow. Like a day after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, we get nobody.
yeah, I think the last couple of years we've closed.
Oh.
And That's been a,
That's
I've
what
always,
will be voted on.
Yeah, but usually it's usually,
Yeah.
relationships with other institutions. The library encourages the public schools' use and interlibrary loan requests. The regional library collection supplements its collection. The library coordinates with other libraries in Vermont, including the Department of Libraries. Good?
Yep.
A Friends of the Library group is encouraged and supported as a valuable source of community involvement. Good? Good. Okay. Use of facilities by outside groups. And I really think in the event that we do get an addition, if we ever do get an addition put on it, this is really kind of important. Because that room might be used.
Yeah.
yes.
The library may be used by private individuals and by community and or service organizations with permission of the board. It will not be used for political advertising, sale of commercial products, except for charitable purposes specifically authorized by the board, or signing petitions except as authorized by the board. Now, my question was hypothetically, what about an author and book signings? Now, when that author came in and was for the cat event,
Yes, she did sell, I think she only sold to you.
so we are selling, they can sell for a book signing.
And I didn't know about this, so I didn't ask about
No,
it
no.
beforehand, so.
Well, this is all, this
Because
is why we're doing it.
Because they also had cat adoption fees. So that was, I mean, but they're nonprofits, so.
Right, no, I'm saying like, I'm good with an author and book signings.
Yeah.
I think that we have sold books here. We
What about
sell
fundraising thing?
the Bakersfield book we sell, or we did sell here, so.
Okay.
A fee may be charged to groups using the library to continue to contribute to fuel, electricity, and custodial services. The school does it. If we feel the need, then we'll do it. I think that's just to cover us, in case it's an all-day event or something.
Right.
They don't charge us on Sunday nights, so. But it's good, yeah, keep it in there.
Records. As a municipal library, a report is made by the board and librarian each year. In the town report showing the library statistics programs held and the condition of the facility, the town treasurer will provide the financial status of the library. You don't have to do that. Well, no, I'm sorry. The town treasurer will provide it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Are we good with that?
Yep.
Mhm.
An annual statistical report is filed with the Vermont Department of Libraries.
Yep.
Gifts. Donated books and other materials will be accepted on the condition that the library has the authority to make whatever disposition he or she deems advisable. I think we need to reword this because we have not been accepting donations as of late. And
A lot of libraries say that donations and other materials are accepted by the discretion
Yeah.
of the librarian.
so I think we should put that in
Yeah, we
there.
should
Discretion, the discretion. I like that.
Like we just,
Instead
someone
of on the
dropped off a
condition.
bunch of books and Mary just took them right across the street.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've had a no donation for a while now.
Yeah.
So definitely put that in there, that accepted on the discretion of the library. Gifts of money, real property, and or stock will be accepted if conditions attached thereto are acceptable to the Board of Trustees. I'm good with that. The library will not accept materials that are not outright gifts. This does not include materials which are loaned and for display, such as the stuff we got for the clips, right?
Well, those were given to us.
Well, we did have some that were sent to us.
Oh,
for
yeah.
display.
Yes.
The library will not accept as a gift any item or object if the condition of acceptance requires permanent exhibition of the item or object or requires, this is kind of funny, or requires that the material be kept together as a separate or physical entity. Except for temporary exhibit purchases, the library will not accept storage responsibilities for objects or owned or controlled by other groups or individuals. I agree with that because we have
Yeah.
stuff downstairs that belong to other people, and I don't understand why it's here.
Yes.
We no longer have Easter eggs down there.
Good.
Oh, great.
The library, confidentiality. The library does not identify the names of library users with any specific material. Our relationships with our users are strictly confidential. No information concerning borrowers' records or circulation shall be made available to any individual or agency of the government, whether federal, state, or local, unless the library is compelled to do so under due process of the law.
So there, I want to somehow word this slightly different. So legally, anyone over the age of 12 is considered an adult and would fall under this. But anyone under the age of 12, if they have their own library card, parents can say, what does my child have out? And we can provide that information.
Okay.
So I don't know if we wanted to put that in there or just put something in there about following current laws.
That's the current law that you can.
I would just cite the law in there under Vermont section, whatever the section
Right.
is. Okay, just put that covers it. Well,
It
Doesn't
was
take much for some people.
no.
so it's to protect kids who may be exploring their sexuality. And so that way parents, they can feel safe that if their parents feel negatively, that they can still read these books without their parents' interference.
Okay. So we're good with that? With the
Yes.
rewording,
Because
right?
there's a due process of law, so.
Material section. The library will provide any material which help to meet the needs and interests of the community. Materials may include, but not limited to, books, periodicals, pamphlets, newspapers, pictures, slides, films, records, maps, recordings, and microfilm.
I mean,
We have
it's
microfilm?
no.
No, so we can get rid of records. Do we have any maps? I don't think we have maps. I don't think we have microfilm.
We don't have any slides
We
to
don't
my
have
knowledge.
slides.
Is there a chance that we can have them in the future? Putting them out there. I mean, I probably not.
We
but-
don't.
We don't have a slide projector. Records, I mean, if someone were to
Records,
donate,
I think records would be like the town report or something like that. We can.
I took that as like the physical record.
LPs.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be something that I
Okay.
would have to say, well, we don't really have a
We don't
record player.
space, yeah.
Right.
But if you want to get rid of these, I'll take them.
Right.
I'll find a
You
home
can
of
donate
my
them
own.
in Winooski. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take the BB King ones.
All right.
Okay. Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, materials acquired should meet high standards of quality and content, expression, and format. Works in fiction should meet the literary standards of the period in which they were written. The language and style should be suitable to the content and the author's purpose. Current novels, which may be considered experimental in nature, objectionable, or sensational by some members of the community, should nevertheless be included in the collection if they meet general criteria. I agree with that.
Mhm.
The public library collection should serve as a complement to the resources already available to students and should enrich their resources for personal interest or individual projects. Therefore, textbooks are not generally purposed except in cases where suitable material is not readily available in other forms.
I would rather just not purchase textbooks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know that Cheryl did, but I didn't. I
I
don't see them.
they by the time they're published, they're outdated.
Exactly, yep, exactly, and there's so much money.
Who was using them?
Especially if you buy one.
Like
Um,
homeschool
we-
stuff?
We had a girl in college that was using some medical stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we had a homeschool. She kept a homeschool
Program.
curriculum downstairs, but it never got used.
Never ever.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
man.
It got
Oh,
pooped
you
on.
know, that was what the mice all ran over down there.
Yeah, it got
Okay.
pooped on.
Gotcha.
Remember all that?
Yeah.
The public, it was bad.
Can I have a tissue? Thank you.
I'm glad you didn't say boil.
Sure, you can have it.
Just use part of it.
Things.
The library does not attempt to develop a comprehensive research collection in any one field with the exception of local history. Books of a highly technical or specialized nature are available through interlibrary loan, as are selections in the area of law, medicine, and related subjects beyond those of interest to laymen. I think that that's good. Yes,
Yes, and we also, because it's part of the state library, we have EBSCO, which has law and all those materials.
well, it does say a specialized nature
Right.
through internet.
Well, it's virtual.
An attempt is made to acquire authoritative material representing many views as possible and all sides of controversial issues. Library does not promote particular beliefs or views, but instead presents quality materials containing opposing views for examination by the public. Presence of an item in the library does not indicate endorsement of its content by the library. I'm good with that.
There's some legal ease.
The library will resist efforts to force inclusion of works representing political, economic, moral, religious, or other vested positions when these materials do not conform to the selection policies.
I am okay with that. The only thing that I see, I don't want to put this in a delicate nature since we're being recorded. There are some works written by prominent political figures currently in office that I would not feel falls under that some people may want us to carry.
I think that there is something about that, about the librarian's discretion.
Because
That's gotta be the most vague paragraph in this whole thing.
Because while I don't mind containing opposing views for examination, I do want it to be semi-factual.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
And I think that's covered in the previous ones about quality of content and all that.
Right.
Okay.
So
And your discretion.
Your
And they
discretion.
can always go online.
Yeah.
Yep, they can get it through Libby or get an interlibrary loan as well.
Yep.
You know, that's your out is interlibrary loan. They can get it from
All
the
right.
library.
We don't have room for everything.
Yep.
No, we don't.
And you can say you can just get it through interlibrary loan. And that way your bases are covered. Material will not be excluded from the collection because of the race or nationality or the political or religious views or sexual orientation or gender identity of the author. An effort will be made to provide a reasonable number of those books in popular demand. I think you do a pretty good job of that. The library will keep itself informed of other publicly available resources of books and other materials in the area to avoid unnecessary duplication. I don't think we have a problem there. All materials except for reference books and those which are in special demand cannot be duplicated, including rare and fragile items, will be lent for home use under library regulations and procedures. Know that. Materials that are no longer useful in light of the stated objectives of the library will systematically we will be systematically weeded from the collection according to professional practices. We are quite educated in that here. Okay, here's the good stuff. All right, children will have free access to all library materials. It is deemed the responsibility of parents to determine what their children may read. Selection will not be inhibited by the possibility that material may inadvertently come into the possession of children. So what exactly?
So I think this is, so as a librarian, it is not my job to say to a middle schooler, no, you can't read that.
So when we say children,
Anyone
should
under
we
the
put age
anyone
over the age of 12?
children under the age of 12. So like say Finn is running around like he does, and he pulls off a Stephen King novel over there.
Okay.
Shiny.
Yes. You know, like
Yes,
it's
read
not
it
for me to
that.
say, Finn, you can't look at that. That would be
Okay, so
pristine."
that's what it means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You know,
And
and
that's
if
separated.
he wants to check that out, that is up to his parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm tracking that to The Shining, but sure.
It's been old enough to read it.
no,
Yeah, so don't worry about it. There's no pictures.
no pictures in it, so they can get a plus there. I guess if a parent's having an issue and the kid isn't letting up on the book, I guess it's up to mom or dad or a guardian.
I think that is
First book to read.
like a lot of the books that are being banned is because children have access to everything, and parents are like, well, I don't want my child wandering into the adult section. They could see this book with a half naked man on the cover.
Right. The romance.
You know, but
section,
that's not my call as
Right.
the librarian.
Mhm.
That's up to you to
Yes.
That's
right.
Okay. If a patron objects to a specific book in the collection, he or she, or should we put it, or they?
They have. I think that's a good,
It covers everything.
He, she, or they?
or just
No,
they.
well, they.
Okay,
They
they.
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have the opportunity to complete a book reconsideration form appendage. You found it? The board will then re-examine the book and make a determination as to whether the book meets selection criteria and should or should not be retained.
By
So,
the board when you.
well, I was just
That's
gonna
my
say,
feeling. Why?
so I was just gonna say on this one, I know that some libraries have a separate subcommittee that includes non-library, like would have an employee, a trustee, and maybe a community member to look at the book, because that way there's
So could
that be
we,
friends of the
yeah,
library?
friends of the library, or maybe somebody who's part of, like, let's say, I would say like Linda Stanley would be a good option.
right.
You know, somebody, if we ask them to come in and have a meeting about a book, I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
How many of these kind of requests do you get a year?
We haven't had any.
Well, we had, when the Dr. Seuss thing went down, that was a whole thing that we had to write up, like a whole. And I remember she was taking books off the shelf because she was afraid that people would steal them. So, yeah. So it does come up from time to time. I
Right.
think it's just, you know, and then it blows over all as well.
Right. I mean, we do have many books in our collection that are banned for one reason or another, that whether we agree with.
Right. I mean, I was shocked to see, like, there's a podcast that actually reads the books out loud, and then they go through and they determine what is so offensive that this is on the banned book list. And I mean, it's wild.
You want a crazy one? Hop on Pop.
Oh, come on, that's my daughter's favorite book. She used to have that in her crib. She used to pop, pop, pop on pop. That's what she used to call it.
It promotes violence to fathers.
Oh,
Oh
seriously.
my God, no.
Right.
Ridiculous.
So like
Kind of violence any father would want.
Yeah.
that is I mean that's some of the craziness.
My daughter had that book in her crib at all times.
Or where the sidewalk ends. Encourage you
No!
not to do your chores.
Stop it.
Yeah.
That's a great
I,
book.
I think that Pinkalicious is on my
Yes.
list.
Pinkalicious, you shared that.
Pippi Longstocking too.
Probably. Tom Sawyer is.
No, it's the
And
best book ever.
there was one, oh my gosh, what's it
Tasha
called?
Tudor books.
I can't remember what it, well, Lord of the Rings.
That's good. I had to read that in junior high. I'm glad that's banned.
Precious.
I didn't think it was-
Yeah. It's crazy. Good Night Moon.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Because in the earlier editions, in one of the pictures, there's a picture of an ashtray sitting on the table.
Oh, come on.
I'm
Get
sorry.
out.
And in some states, it's because it's a poem, and the first half of the poem has a different cadence than the second half.
Oh yeah, that's a reason. Yeah.
And
Sometimes I walk fast. Sometimes I walk.
like
Sometimes I talk fast.
yeah. I got we have lots of picture books that are banned in other states.
Nice.
Cheese and crow.
All right, so intellectual freedom. The library subscribes to the Library Bill of Rights of the American Library Association and the freedom to read statement as follows. Number 1, as a responsibility of library service, books and other library materials selected should be chosen for values of interest, information, and enlightenment of all the people of the community. In no case should library materials be excluded because of the race or nationality or the social, political, or religious views or sexual orientation or gender identity of the author. Did I read? I'm
Oh, it's
okay.
just the same.
Yeah.
Different category.
Libraries should provide books and other materials presenting all points of view concerning the problems and issues of our times. No library materials should be proscribed or removed from libraries because of partisan or doctrinal
No.
disapproval.
That would be like banning Harry Potter because you're Christian.
Okay, got it. Censorship should be challenged by libraries in
Catholics.
maintenance of, well, my in-laws would be those people. Censorship should be challenged by libraries in maintenance of their responsibility to provide public information and enlightenment. Libraries should coordinate with all persons and groups concerned with resisting abridgment of free expression and free access to ideas. In accordance with state law, the right of an individual to use the library will not be denied or abridged because of his or her race, color, creed, national origin, marital status, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. An institution of education for democratic living, the library should welcome the use of its meeting rooms for socially useful and cultural activities and the discussion of current public questions. Such meeting places should be available on equal terms to all groups in the community, regardless of the beliefs and affiliations of their members, provided that the meetings be open to the public. We good with that?
One for that, number 5. Because of his or her.
Because
Are
of
we
their
still saying
race,
that? Yeah.
their,
Or if we go with their.
I'm
There.
wondering because this is the Bill of Rights from the American Library Association and Freedom to Read statement. I think they've updated it in recent years.
so
We
Can I
can
just put in?
check,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll check for an updated
Yeah,
version
'cause
of
this
that.
one was done in 2008, I think it said. on
Yeah.
ours.
On that tree.
Personnel, hiring and firing. The HF Brigham Free Library conforms to state law in its hiring practices. All applicants for the library position will be considered without regard to race, creed, color, national origin, marital status, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Applicants shall submit a resume, references, and 3 letters of recommendation for consideration by the Library Board of Trustees.
You didn't ask me for letters of reference.
But weren't going by this because we hadn't looked through it, and now we are.
Why did you want to leave?
Yeah, exactly. We want them now.
I have one. But it's I think it was written in 2018. No,
Yeah.
from when I was an intern.
Oh.
It was my supervisor at the time.
All resumes should be treated as confidential by the trustees and shall be considered in executive session. The Board of Trustees will endeavor to fill a vacant library position within a reasonable period of time, scheduling meetings as necessary. Hiring decisions shall be communicated to the applicants by the chair of the Board of Trustees or his, her, they designate. The librarian may be dismissed without notice for cause by vote of the Board of Trustees. Cause for dismissal includes and is not limited to theft or embezzlement, damage to library property, physical threat to patrons. That's you, Adley.
Yeah.
That's who she has a threat. I have a caveat.
Town officers or personnel or trustees. So stop hitting her, Rebecca. I've caught you a couple times. Extended unexplained absences resulting in the extended unscheduled closure of the library, repeated non-performance of duties as listed below. The trustees may dismiss the librarian without cause when 30 days notice is given. Typical pay for the period may be substituted for notice. In other words, if she leaves and we do not give her notice, we have to pay her for 30 days, right? Typical for the pay period may be substituted for notice. I believe that's the law.
Yeah, so should it be dismissed without cause?
Right, like if she comes in and she says, like,
Or if I just don't show up.
right,
Money.
I mean,
No, I think
It-
that's only
it-
if she, like, we dismiss her
Okay.
without cause. She
Right.
not the other
30
way around.
days.
Okay.
right.
I think if she just didn't show up, I don't think we.
But
should
I don't think
be.
we'd get anything. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I'm reading it.
Okay, are we good with that?
Yeah.
Right, hours leaves. The librarian works at least 16 hours per week when the library is open. They will receive at least the Vermont minimum hourly wage with 1 week paid vacation following the completion of 1 year's work. I looked this up, 2009, $7.25 was the federal minimum wage, and it was Vermont's minimum wage. So I don't know what the deal is that, and it's pretty sad that what we're up to, that it continues to be $7.25 today.
Federally.
So, or it's either $7.25 or $7.60.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Vermont. Vermont's up over $15, I think, now, $13 or $15 now. 13 something, $13.65.
And the Vermont minimum wage would have to be at least federal. But could be higher than federal minimum wage.
Right.
Right, but I looked it up and librarians are required. They put that in here. Did I? It is, I looked this up. It's required because they are considered because they have to have training. They're considered of a professional level. So they cannot, what this thing says is that they have to receive more than minimum wage, that they're considered,
Because of specialized training.
right, specialized training, they get more than
And that's librarian and assistant. librarian.
nope, just the librarian.
So then when do we have to change this to give a receive more than Vermont minimum hourly wage?
I would say more than,
How about instead of saying minimum wage, how about a wage based on experience?
Receive a wage based on experience that is above.
like,
Do we have to
okay,
have-
when we did you,
And-
when we hired you,
Mhm.
we hired you at a certain
Base.
wage, okay, 19 something we hired you at.
Right.
And our conditions were that you were to work towards your librarian certification
Yes.
within a certain amount of time. I think we gave you like a year or a year and a half to complete it. So you weren't qualified, but we felt that your qualifications reflected.
And I'd already started because I think when
Right, you had started, you had like 60 hours or something.
yeah, I think when they started, I had all but the last 25 hours or something like that. So it was,
I think that we should put over the Vermont minimum hourly wage at the discretion of the board based on
Yeah, that's a good calendar.
based on qualifications. Because we don't all, like in Hallie's case, we didn't get a qualified librarian, and we did have other candidates who wanted the job that were not, who had no hours in, hardly had hours in, and they, just the way it was.
based on what?
Qualifications. At the discussion. Okay. Seems like that. All right. The assistant librarian works no less than 3 hours every week. They will receive at least the federal minimum hourly wage. I want to put Vermont. Federal is way, we do Vermont. Weekly work schedules will be determined by librarian and assistant librarian through the Board of Trustees. I'm good with that.
So if Mary and I switch up, do you want us, because Nikki was always of the handle it amongst yourself unless there's an issue. Do you want me
I
to?
think we just need to know. I think we should leave that in place. I think that it's just we did leave it up to you, but we also had to approve of the hours. Like we had that problem with the Friday. We almost went over our budget by trying to approve more hours for the library. So I think that it's a good idea that it is approved. We give you the discretion, but really the work schedules do have to be approved by us as far as hours go. So I think we should leave that in place. I think that's a good idea. I think that we're extremely flexible.
Right. So I have a calendar that I keep track of Mary's weekends and stuff. Do you want me to just share that with you?
If you put it on the Google Calendar.
Yeah. Well, I have one separate. That way we don't always have to look at it if we're trying to plan something.
Okay.
So I can turn it off so I can just share that.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right. Expenses. The librarian's membership in the Vermont Library Association will be paid, as well as the annual conference registration fee. Mileage payment will be made when the librarians attend regional and state meetings, accreditation workshops, regional book exchange, materials review, and any mileage incurred while performing duties as the librarian. Are we good with that?
Yeah. I don't think that's the librarian's membership. I think it's the library's membership.
Okay. So
just as a
okay. I don't know. Can we just check into that and make sure? Right. Yes. Okay, and Christine, you asked about the trustee section of responsibilities. Ours are in the bylaws.
Okay.
Okay, responsibilities, librarian, circulation. Keep patron records, keep daily logs and reports for monthly trustee meeting, shelve and display books, overdue notices, interlibrary loans, statistical reports, home delivery upon request, meal site coordination. I think that they used to do stuff here a long
Mhm.
time ago.
Like
I-
Meals on Wheels or something.
Yeah.
Can I get a tissue?
Okay, materials selection, purchase materials for the library collection, keep up with current review tools, submit bills to trustee treasurer.
Should that
We
be-
can take that
Yeah,
out,
town treasurer.
put in town treasurer. Cover type. Okay, we can get rid of that, right? Cover type, file, cards, and list new materials. How are we gonna reword that?
Just keep records of books. And materials.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't. Our system, having the system that we do automatically does that now.
So do we need,
it's
okay,
still-
so
It's still records of
cover,
new materials.
what does cover mean? Does that
I
mean covering
don't know.
books?
Cover type, file cards, and list new materials.
The
I'm
book, the book.
I bet it's
Covers-
covering the book,
Yeah,
right?
the
Am I
file.
supposed to
Okay.
think of-
So
Yeah.
why don't we change that to covering books? We don't have to do any typing unless you put it, do you type it into the computer?
Mary just.
Or is
said-
it scanned?
Yes. So we have to we have to put it. We put on our own barcodes and have to enter
Yeah.
them in.
So
So
barcodes.
still,
And
so we
minus
could-
file card.
we could put, instead of file cards, enter barcodes.
Just do cover and log new materials into system.
Yeah, log new materials into computer system, maybe. What is VUC?
Oh, wow. Oh wait, what?
Send VUC cards
Cards
to
to-
Department of Libraries.
BUC? I don't know.
Do you have to send anything to the Department of Libraries
No.
anymore? Okay,
Vermont undercover.
yeah, let me see if we can
Get
find
those
it.
people.
Do home deliveries.
There's,
No, not at the moment.
you have though. Yes,
Not since I started. I have offered to Polly. But she wants to
Anyone would.
drive.
Yeah.
oh,
I
I didn't know if you want to take that out or not.
I know, I think leaving it in, when Flora was still with
Yeah.
us, I
Mhm.
offered to bring her books. And I know that there's other libraries that do it for some of their homebound. And I mean, I drive for the bookmobile. That's what I do.
Yeah.
well,
I delivered a Polly in.
Mhm.
um, let's put it this way. I believe that one of our big, grants that we get, I'm not sure, but was because somebody was delivering at home way back when, that the person was homebound.
Yeah.
So,
So it could look good on future applications potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
If
It's a nice service to have.
if someone were to call, like say you wanted something to read, but you couldn't get out for
Yeah. You
whatever.
could have
Right.
offered as sick for 3 weeks.
Yes.
I don't necessarily want to get sick.
I mean,
Leave it on my door.
I'm sneezing.
Yeah,
I haven't sneezed all day. This is-
Just this time to get sick again.
That's why
Okay.
I'm sitting way over
Yeah.
here.
oh, okay, has to do with schools. Let's see here. I don't know what VUC is. Says VUC submission for school libraries.
Huh.
Technical Services Unit, VUC.
Department of.
Let's see. VUC symbol, town, library name, phone. And it's through the Vermont Department of Libraries. But it says 1314, so I don't know if this is still
Denmark, Oliver.
something that's relevant. Huh, I have no idea, but it is here. But it says 1314, which leads me to believe that it's
Yeah, I
Vermont
never.
Union Catalog? Is that what you?
Was that at Wendy's?
it
Vermont
doesn't
Union
say.
Capital.
I've never had. I've. I don't think anyone's ever even brought it up.
Yeah, we should.
Okay,
research
so
it
we
then.
need to look that up just to
Yeah.
make sure. It sounds
Yeah.
like it's outdated, whatever it is, but
Find it.
okay.
It's VUC and it's from the Department of Libraries, but it
Doesn't define what it is.
um
Let me ask, let me throw, maybe she, I doubt she's still.
contains current acquisitions of all types of libraries from the 1920s ish, maybe 40s, to the present traditional card catalog format.
Okay, so we don't use that.
We don't use card cataloging.
No.
I'll still ask Cheryl about it and see what she says, because it just seems kind of weird. Or maybe Mary might know. Mary
ask
might know.
Mary.
Ask Mary before I ask. Repair damaged books. Plan collection space. Weed collection.
I didn't know we had a weed collection.
I know.
We have foraging.
Yeah, foraging. Put Leanne on that.
She'd want to keep them all.
Yeah. Select additions to collections from donation.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that mean if?
Well, if
it
you,
was a real
somebody,
Popular book,
yeah.
somebody like.
if somebody brought in a book that
yeah.
we don't have,
Yeah.
that is fairly in good condition.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
If it's in, really good condition, we would keep it, Not Nikki's wine covered book. Sorry, Nikki. Okay, patron relations. Be knowledgeable about patron needs and desires. Promote library use. Educate patrons on library use. Provide reference services. Educate and assist patrons on technology and computer. Keep library clean and in an organized manner. Are we all good with that?
Yep.
Mhm. Program. Coordinate preschool story hour. We do that. Coordinate summer reading program. We do that. Coordinate adult and special program. We do that. Professional development. Shall possess a library science degree, a Vermont certificate of library training, or will be working towards one of these. Attend certification workshops. Attend appropriate librarian meetings. Budget. Maintain expenditures within the budget. Help trustees develop the annual budget. Keep monthly reports to present at monthly trustee meetings. Okay. Work with trustees, solicit and supervise volunteers. Yes, yes.
Yep, yep.
Other travel to regional library for books when necessary. Participate in fundraising events. Obtain the mail from the post office and file appropriately. Coordinate volunteers. Assistant librarian, substitute librarian, to be called on by the librarian for additional work during vacation hours. Training sessions and meetings will be paid their own wage. Okay, certification will work towards state certification. Now, I don't think that it's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary
And
either.
I think that it's a slippery slope unless, and this is the caveat. I think we should reword it. Because our budget would not qualify, our library is not big enough for two fully, our budget wouldn't allow for it. But my caveat is if a substitute or assistant was working towards that goal and wanted to work at our library for experience for growth purposes or whether to or preparing to replace a retiring or librarian moving on, I would be good with that. So I don't know how we would word it.
What if we had a bullet point that said certification not required? And then but experience preferred, but previous library experience preferred. And then on the separate bullet point, have persons looking for experience while working towards their
Yeah,
certification.
yeah. I like that. Or gaining experience. Working towards gaining. I like that.
So is that saying the assistant librarian would be working towards their certification?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So how it's worded, it could be, but doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be. It's not required. First would be not required, right? Certification not required. But we allow them to work towards certification.
Oh.
That is fine with that. If I'm good with like if somebody wanted to come here and work and they were working towards library certification, but they planned on moving on, I would be good with that.
Mhm.
If they were looking to add to their resume. Would you be good with that, Hadley?
I
You're the
would.
one.
Yeah. Because I think there are things like the certificate was helpful in many things for the bookmobile, but the bookmobile is drastically different than a building. And I use so much more of my library certificate here than I do there.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'd say yes.
Okay, see other, all duties deemed necessary by the librarian. I think that's A-okay. Right, leave of absence policy. Leave of absence without pay may be granted to library employees for maternity, adoption, illness, travel, or graduate or certification training. All leaves considered on a case-by-case basis and must be approved by the director. A leave for the director must be approved by the library board. Requests to leave should be submitted in writing as well as in advance. Or did I skip something? Okay. Requests for leave should be submitted in writing well in advance of the time when the leave is to begin. Written requests should indicate both a beginning and ending date for leave. Vacation time must be used before an unpaid leave will be approved for reasons other than military training. Are we good with that last line?
I'm not planning to join, so
It's there.
Okay. Any employee who returns before the end of a granted leave is expected to give other employees at least 1 week's notice for schedule adjustments. An employee is on unpaid leave, he, she, they are responsible for all health insurance costs and other benefit premiums deductions that may apply. I don't know what the deal is for that, but okay. In some instances, it may be necessary to deny requests of leave of absence. Leaves are a privilege and can be granted only if the best interest of the library can be maintained.
Why does it say
Makes sense.
leaves? Just out of curiosity, is there like some
It's illegal.
leaves are a privilege? Okay, it's referring to multiple types of leave, I guess.
yeah.
A bereavement leave. Library employees are eligible for 3 days bereavement leave without loss of pay or sick leave credit in the event of the death of immediate family defined as spouse, children, brother, sister, or parents of either employee or the employee's spouse. Military leave. Library employees who are duly enrolled members of the National Guard, State Guard, or other organized reserve component of the Armed Forces of the United States shall be allowed military leave of absence, which has been ordered. The leave under normal circumstances will not exceed 14 days. excluding Sundays and legal holidays. A copy of the order requiring attendance at the military training sites shall accompany all requests for a military leave. The library can assure no loss of wages if the employee wishes to turn all earnings from the training period over to the library board. Benefits are not affected by military leave as long as the leave stays within the 14-day parameter.
So does that mean if you're paid for by the military during your leave, you would give the library all your money to get your pay from the library? Is that what
That's how I
Yeah.
interpreted it. And is that something that
is that legal?
I think all this might be from USERA, which is like a federal military leave.
Okay.
So I think, I mean, to me, this reads like it's from that. I'm not really familiar with it on like this side of things, but
Is it a thing against double dipping? Is that why they put it in?
it might be, yeah. I mean, if you wanted to look into it more, you probably should look up
Yeah.
USERA. I don't know if you're interested in looking into that more. I mean, I don't think it's anything that's gonna be happening anytime soon.
Unless
so-
I'm conscripted.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. Jury duty. In the event that a library employee is called for jury duty, the library will release them and assure no loss of wages if fees and expenses paid to jurors do not equal or exceed wages normally paid by the library. These fees can be turned into the library board and the employee will be paid their wages as usual. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I get $15.
Are you on jury duty? Works. Work schedule policy. Major changes in the director's schedule or other circumstances may not be made without approval of the library board. Requests for such will be made in writing to the library board. Requests for major changes in the work schedule or other staff or volunteers shall be made in writing to the library director with flexibility for extension. Did I say that? Exigent
You got it. Yeah.
circumstances. Meetings, conventions, and workshops, the director, trustees, and staff attending continuing education opportunities to aid the library shall be allowed expenses at the discretion of the library board according to the amount appropriated in budget for such. The director, staff, and trustees are encouraged to attend and participate in continuing education activities, which are mostly done online now. Internet policy, users of the internet for research and the acquisition of information to address their educational, vocational, cultural, and recreational needs. Users may use the internet for the receipt and transmission of electronic mail, email, as long as they use a free email service which will establish and maintain an account for them. The library is unable to manage email accounts for any organization or individuals. We still good with that, Hadley?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take out the electronic mail
Okay.
and leave it as email.
Okay, fine with me. I think that we were dealing in the infancy. when this was
Yes.
written. Internet use is offered in 30-minute sessions of first come, first served basis. Each user is allowed one session. If there are patrons waiting for the service at the end of the session, the user can have another session, but once having the service for 30 minutes, the user must abandon the internet if a patron requests use of the service. Now, are you okay with this? Because, okay, we did have a patron who I think when you first started here,
Yeah,
lived in here. I don't want to say lived in here, was here frequently.
yes, came once a day.
Are we good with this as it is now?
Yes.
Okay.
When it's saying use of the internet, is that using the internet on any of your personal devices,
No.
or is it
That.
Computer.
okay? With how long it takes for that computer to do things, I'm not sure 30 minutes is great. Because it takes a long time for it to.
That's why
Always
I'm
left
wor-
when I did it.
that's why I'm working on a grant to buy new patron computers.
Yeah.
Our laptops, I did some research on them and they're from 2015. It's
Wow.
fine.
Wow.
That was just my
Impressive, no blue line yet.
Yeah.
thoughts on that. Is that 30 minutes with this computer specifically, it might not be enough for someone to get what they need done, but
You might want to save one of those laptop computers though, because it has a DVD drive in it.
Yes,
Okay.
there's
The one,
there's one that we
there's
keep
one that we
updated.
keep. updated.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll stay that way, but
Oh, now that you mention it, that is something that's going away is our video license. The state is not renewing it this year.
wow, okay.
So after
Interesting.
April, we don't have that.
So
what does that mean?
no, they're not doing that anymore.
No.
They're discontinuing. it. So we would have to buy it.
Yes,
And it's like $1,000-something,
I
right?
think so.
Okay, that's a bummer.
It is,
What does that mean for
That's
this?
really kind of shocking because I know that Enosburg used theirs.
but I guess since COVID ended, they're not seeing the use.
As much.
As
Well, we
much.
didn't use it.
Yeah.
So it's the YouTube and all that.
Well, so the licensing allowed us to show DVDs that we physically owned. With all we had to do was write to them and say, we're watching this movie
On this
on
day.
this date. And they'd be like, sure, go ahead.
And now we can't.
And now we can't.
So now we can't show anything here.
Right. Which is,
And that big machine.
That's interesting. That kind of sucks. Because,
Yeah.
you know, I just think about like you were going to do like I don't know, a hocus pocus party or something.
yeah, I was thinking about doing a like a movie group type of
No, okay, so no, you have to have permission. Now,
Easier.
what I would do at your next Flare meeting,
Gonna play it on a certain.
reach out and find out
Or
what they're
certain
doing, and I will reach out to Ellen Stanley, that's
copyright
Linda
licenses.
Stanley's daughter,
okay.
because I think she's on some board, and find out if they are doing anything that, I mean, maybe it would make sense for us if we can to go into a collaboration, if it's affordable
Right.
with other libraries to get a license. I don't know if it would have to just be an individual.
Can we turn it up?
Well, we're almost done.
We're almost done.
I need to make a note for myself.
I don't know. It's because I know that they still show movies in the park in Enosburg, and I don't know how they're getting their license, if it's through the library or not. I don't think that it is, because I remember I had to go to them to ask about when we were getting going.
But this is new, right?
Yeah, they
So-
just announced it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have.
They just announced it and it's gonna be done in 2 months.
Well,
Yeah.
they announced it like 2 weeks ago.
Because it renews
No.
in April.
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I? Okay. Users will respect and uphold copyright laws and other applicable laws and regulations. They will not use it for illegal purposes.
So this makes me wonder how much, say we do have kids using our, and they make something and they've just gone on Google and picked a picture and they,
Yeah, I had this thought too, like,
are we held
are we held
responsible?
responsible? I think we need to look into this, because I understand on this. But also, if it's done on our Wi-Fi here, I think that we might be, but I'm not sure. That might be something to ask the Department of Libraries and find out how that goes and how we are covered legally. Because I mean, anybody can come in here and sit here with their AirPods in and watch anything, I'm sure. I mean,
Or organizations.
but I mean, if we, my concern is legally, if the police are involved, that's a whole other thing. You know, if something happens and,
Right, my concern
You
is,
know, like,
like with, if one of the kids is using Canva to create a presentation and they just lift an image, from a
Yeah,
random,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but they made it here, is that on us,
Right.
you know?
Absolutely. Or any other users that may be sitting out front and in their cars doing who knows
Right.
what. You know, so I think that's definitely something to ask the Department of Libraries about for sure. Okay, users will respect the rights and privacy of others by not accessing private files. I don't know what we don't
have a
We don't.
share, no.
we don't have a shared thing.
No, and that whatever's, I
Yeah,
wiped that.
Yeah. I think we can get rid of that, right? I mean, do you want to leave it in?
Let's leave it in to be covered.
Yeah.
Users agree not to incur any costs for the library through their use of internet service. That's a good one. Users shall not create and or distribute computer
Oh.
viruses over the internet. That's usually a good idea.
Oh,
Do we still have virus protection? Natalie?
Yes.
Users shall not deliberately or willfully cause damage to computer equipment, programs, or errors. Procedure for revision of policy. The board shall review these policies annually and revise them as necessary. Periodic review shall be made, or every 30 years, right? I know.
not doing that again.
Periodic review will be made of library services to determine whether the needs of the community indicate that the present services should be discontinued or other services added. We good?
Yep.
Posting, bulletin board materials may be submitted for posting by nonprofit organizations for civic, educational, or cultural purposes. Such organizations may submit notices only for the purposes of publicizing a specific local event. Limited space generally allows for only short-term notices. The director may approve all posting and may prohibit postings that do not meet library standards. Library staff will place and remove postings promptly.
I try to check it weekly.
Yeah. I always check it when I come to the door. Notice returns. A request for return of items along with name and telephone number. We should add email in there. Of persons to be contacted. I think that we do that anyway, don't we? Shall be printed on the back of each article. Oh, yeah. Put an email.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
Unless such arrangements are specified, items must be picked up the day following the date of publicized event if the owners want them returned.
Yeah, that's a good.
That like the
Then they
Bluey
can just
cost.
Oh, like, is this? I thought this was for what was on the board.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
I mean, no one has ever asked for their thing
Stop
back.
back, yeah. Sure. Otherwise, the library will not be responsible for returning materials.
Yep.
Archiving, the library shall, upon request or notices of public interest, but due to space limitation, these cannot be posted. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Are we feeling good or do we want to look through?
You want this one while we're here?
Yeah.
We just wrote.
We just wrote this one. This is
but it's
recent.
probably good if we're doing it annually, just
Yep.
to review it.
We just did this last year, so
I don't like that line.
don't hit her.
Right?
HF,
And I'm not hitting her. One more
Exactly.
HF Brigham Free Library is able to provide Vermont State Park Services and Vermont Historic Sites through the Vermont Department of Libraries. These passes allow for free admission of one car holding up to 8 people into a Vermont State Park
Nice.
or Vermont Historical Site. The St. Albans Family Pool Pass has been made available through the Spark Connecting Community Grant from the Vermont Community Foundation. Do we have that on our calendar to reapply for that again?
We do. They haven't announced it yet.
Okay. You must have an HF Brigham Free Library card that does not have any restrictions on it. Only Bakersfield residents are able to reserve it ahead of time. A non-resident patron can call in the morning and take it for the day if it is not reserved. If you want to pass on a Sunday or Monday, please make your request at least 3 business days ahead of time so we can ensure someone is available to send it out to you.
Does that also apply to the non-resident?
Yes.
Yes.
You may borrow the pass for 1 day, and the blanks here are for the patron to initial.
Oh, okay.
You may borrow the pass for 1 day, 24 hours. Call the library at 827-4414 if for some reason you cannot make it back in time. This is important if you do not want to incur late fees. There's a drop box for night and weekend returns when the library is closed. There is a late fee of $25 a day. If you lose the pass, you will be responsible for purchasing a new one at whatever the current annual rate is. Are we good with it?
Yeah, excellent.
We've only had one person pay the late fee. It was the first person who ever took it out. And it was this person.
Oh, mamma mia.
All right. So this here is the Act 150. This is the one for the
Yeah, did I?
12-year-olds. Yes.
Yes. And behind it is their model policies that they were
Right.
in case we needed guidance.
Do you want me to read through this, or I'd be happy to if you want me to?
I'd rather, this is a little more, this is just collection related.
Okay.
It looks like, and it's a little more in depth from our 1 bullet point. Or 2 bullet points, like our bullet points summarize everything that's here, they just list it out more.
Do you want to just include this in there?
I'm okay with that if everyone
Okay.
else is okay with
All right,
that.
I'm good with it. Is this available online that we can copy and paste it?
Yes.
Yeah. It even has it like a place to pull our library.
Okay, good. Then we'll put it in.
And yeah, and it's got that same form that we already have.
Yep, perfect. All right, so let's go over our behavior policy and finish this out, right? Is that the only thing we have left?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is Bennington's, but I think that we should adopt it for reasons that Hadley believes that we should have it. Bennington Free Library supports the Library Bill of Rights and its interpretation by the American Library Association to protect the rights of all library users to seek unrestricted pursuit of independent living, independent learning, and knowledge in a peaceful library environment. Staff members shall ask individuals who may be interfering with the rights of others to leave. Types of behavior that will not be tolerated are loud talking, which may disturb the study of others, inappropriate, boisterous, or harassing behavior, abusive language to staff members or library patrons, loitering, smoking, or drinking on library grounds. Boy, oh boy, my.
It's not a fun place.
Close her up.
Behavior which violates public laws governing criminal behavior such as lewdness.
Ew.
Well, okay, lewdness, does that include anybody? Because we do have the naked law here in Vermont. I mean, if you're naked
Well,
in the
it's not in
street,
here.
you go outside, does it
It's like
include
a
you
public law.
coming in?
Ride your
So
bike
violent.
outside.
It's not violating it because
It's
it's a
just
public law.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're okay.
Such as lewdness, breach of the peace, and disorderly conduct. Well, I had plans.
Well, you know, it would be totally different though if someone in a trench coat came and
Yeah.
flashed everybody.
Yeah.
That would be ludicrous.
Yes.
Breach of peace, disorderly conduct, stalking, assault, or vandalism. Good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bennington Free Library affirms and emphasizes its commitment to provide a professional working and learning environment which is fair and responsible and which is free of discriminatory, inappropriate, and disrespectful conduct
Ready?
or communication. Harassment inhibits the individual's library to function effectively as an employee or library patron and violates acceptable standards of conduct. Harassment can occur between patrons and library staff, between patrons, and is defined as any action or situation created intentionally to produce a psychological or physical discomfort, embarrassment, or ridicule by conduct, verbal or physical, of a nature that is intimidating, demeaning, hostile, or offensive, or by initiation of unwelcome physical advances or sexual conduct. Sanctions. In most cases, one verbal warning will be issued to any patron who violates the behavior policy. A second violation may result in expulsion from the library and its grounds. No warning will be required. However, if in judgment of the library staff, the behavior in question A, violates federal, state, county, or municipal laws, or B, poses an immediate threat to the safety or well-being of other library patrons or staff, library staff are authorized to enforce these rules. The library should make reasonable accommodations for patrons with disability. The library reserves the right to revoke or restrict library privileges of any patron for behavior contrary to these rules or regulations. In cases where voluntary compliance is not adhered to, the police may be called for assistance.
You want us to get?
That one's an old one too.
Yeah.
Approved 999. Wow, that's an old one too, but it seems to be good.
Right.
Covers it.
There was
like that.
something
I say we
earlier
add it.
that you wanted to make sure within the using your product. And that is included.
Oh,
in-
yeah, like
If you're-
instead of having it as a bullet point, just
Have
it's-
it.
yeah. Yeah, because there's people going around doing First Amendment checks, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted this. They're going into libraries, they're usually white middle-aged men.
Hey,
Sorry.
oh shit, I'm not.
You're not even, I'm about to say,
Got it.
you're over this.
They usually wear red baseball caps.
Good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's so true.
And they're filming to make sure that we have quote unquote both sides of the coin in our libraries, and we're not just putting forth one side. But because they have cameras and they're not always the nicest, like if they came during story hour, all I can what's suggested we say is, you can record, but you can't record people.
Right, you can't.
And if we have this and their language gets out of hand,
Yeah.
that gives us a backing to make them leave.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Should we
and-
add something in the policies about not recording people?
Not,
Something to record
filming
people.
or recording patrons.
We can.
I think we should.
Would these be posted somewhere
Not-
publicly in the library?
Not filming, recording,
photographs.
photographing without
Parental
parental
Is it
or
written?
patron
Written.
written
permission.
permission.
Because
or
like as a
parental
photographer,
consent.
sometimes you have to tell,
Yeah.
why you're there photographing and then they sign it, you get their name, and you get a
Early
copy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can add something. I can
I
write
think
something
we
up
should do that.
to add,
Because that would cover you as well, that
Right.
you can't have your face unless you wish to have your face.
right. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's my practice when it comes to kids anyway, to do backs of heads or just hands.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unless
Mhm.
unless
Unless the
parents.
parent-
right. And I always say to the parents, is this okay for me to post?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Santa one, just go ahead.
Oh, come on.
It
It
was-
was kick ass.
It was still
Sorry.
all the
Kick
backs.
ass.
It was all the backs to the children. You never saw a child's face.
I never saw any.
Oh,
I only saw the one where you came in.
yeah. all
Kelly
the-
sent that to me right away.
But sorry, would these be posted publicly somewhere?
They would go on our website,
I think we should
and
post
Or
one.
like a physical copy?
we can have them on the bulletin
I
board.
think we should have it on the bulletin board.
So do we want to make the changes and then vote on it for next?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. We'll just.
Do you want my notes or do you have your own?
No, I didn't take any notes.
Me either.
I
I
did.
got some, yeah.
I was reading, come on.
You were,
I haven't read this much since my kids were little.
Yeah.
and like
Read
the
it
library
again,
goals,
Mom.
once we read those, I was like, that needs to be on its own separate. I'm gonna put it on the website under About Us.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Are
It's hated it when I read to them at night.
you serious? My kids love
Yeah.
it. My daughter still has
Be
me
done
read to her.
Or something, and I come in and make it through the first sentence, and
Oh, Mike.
Put me out like a light.
That's fun.
My kids, my daughter still, she'll drag out books and be like,
It's nice.
of course, she still writes letters to Santa too, asking
Yeah.
for makeup.
Yeah.
So. Right, so,
You write
Next
down how to do
meeting,
it.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make it. And I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Um,
Uh-oh,
You're gonna say aye.
there's always one in the crowd.